Hurry up, Bears Nation! Are you ready for what's coming, or do you want Caleb Williams to end up on a stretcher? Today we break the news that Hallis Hall doesn't want you to know. 3 moves that will either save the Williams era or bury millions in graves. This isn't speculation, it's pure blue and orange-blooded adrenaline. First trader on the list, a ghost center from the Falcons, could be Caleb's lifesaver. Or another contract to forget? We're talking about a $45 million bet that will make US shout genius or idiot. But this is just the first round. Explosive voltmetry. Do you know that tackler who plays like his jersey is on fire? Management wants to stab him for $5 million. And Dennis Allen holds the keys to blow up the defense. Risk the soul of the team for cap space? That's discussed in hells, not meetings. And the final bomb. Will Ryan Poles be a visionary or a fool with a suppressor? A 17-sack edge in the first round. While the offensive line burns like Chicago in 1871. Protect Caleb or build a defensive monster? The answer will decide if 2025 is glory or another tragedy in 4K. Get active! Comment bear down if you support this war, or fire Poles if you think the apocalypse is coming. Subscribe before we delete this. And remember, in 72 hours, everything changes. Revolution on the Chicago Bears offensive line. This is incredible. Do you think Caleb Williams can keep getting sacked 68 times in a season? I tell you no. And do you know what? The Bears are about to make a historic turn. According to the latest reports, Drew Dalman, the Falcons center, could be the key piece to save our franchise. Why Dalman? Let me explain. This man, although not the biggest, 6 feet 3 inches, 300 pounds, is a technical master. In 2024, his effective pass block rate was 95.1%, top 10 in the NFL. And guess what? He dominates the zone run scheme, exactly what Shane Waldron wants to implement here. Do you think it's a coincidence? I don't. But wait, what about Colin Shelton? Forget him. After a disappointing season, Shelton is not coming back. And the Bears have $79.7 million in cap space. Are they going to spend? Of course, they are. Pro Football Focus projects a 4-year, $45 million contract for Dalman, making him the 6th highest paid center. Expensive? I ask, what's more valuable, $11 million a year or Caleb Williams' health? I'll give you the answer. If Caleb keeps taking 68 sacks a year, we're not getting to any Super Bowl. Dalman not only protects the QB, but he also revitalizes the run game. 102 yards per game in 2024 is unacceptable. With Dalman, DeAndre Swift and Roscoe Johnson would have real blocks, not caricatures. Now, what does Chicago offer? A franchise QB, an innovative offensive coach, and money. If Atlanta doesn't retain him, Dalman would have a guaranteed job and a giant paycheck. Risk? I think it's necessary. Without an offensive line, there is no offense. Period. And here comes my final argument. Would you rather save $45 million and see Caleb in human bowling pin mode again? Or invest in an elite center that could change the course of this era? I choose the second. And now I ask Bears Nation, would you pay $45 million for Drew Dalman? Or do you think it's crazy? Is it possible that the Chicago Bears are ready to release one of their defensive pillars? I ask you, what are they cooking in GM Ryan Poles' office? They just released DeMarcus Walker and Gerald Everett, saving $10.75 million in cap space, and now they have $80 million to spend, the 4th largest budget in the NFL. Full screen for Caleb Williams? Absolutely! But here comes the kicker. What if the next to fall is one of their star linebackers? Matt Okada from NFL.com said it first. Tremaine Edmonds or TJ Edwards could be in the crosshairs. Scandalous, right? Let's analyze it closely. Edmonds, the linebacker with 110 tackles in 2024, but with a serious problem. He was a sieve in coverage. 92.9 passer rating allowed, missed tackles that hurt. And the contract? If they cut him, they only save $4.36 million, but leave $13.07 million in dead money. Is it worth it? I say no. And Edwards? Here's the kicker. They would save $5.5 million if they release him, but robbing the defense of its second-best tackler? Edwards, with 155 tackles in 2024, consistent performance, and a much cheaper contract than Edmonds. I ask you, Would you dismantle the backbone of the defense for $5 million? Pay attention to this. Dennis Allen, the new defensive coordinator, comes from New Orleans with a reputation for being aggressive. Is he looking for a more versatile linebacker? Or is this just smoke? Because, honestly, what's the use of having $80 million if you dismantle your leaders? And now, my verdict, if they cut Edwards, it's a historic mistake. $5.5 million does not justify losing a player who gives everything on every snap. Prioritize Caleb Williams' attack? Sure, but not at the cost of leaving the defense in shambles. Edmonds, with all his cap hit, at least has the physique of a star, although that doesn't translate to stops. And you? I want to know. Would you cut Edwards for $5.5 million? Or would you prefer to hold on to Edmonds and his inflated contract? Leave your answers below. This is not just a numbers game, it's the future of the Bears. And remember, without defense, there are no rings, says your passionate narrator. Until next time, Bears family, this just shook the NFL. Are the Bears making a historic mistake or a masterstroke? Attention, Bears family. I have news that will ignite the debate in Chicago. Ready for what I'm about to say? The Athletic just dropped a mock draft that has the Bears selecting Mike Green, edge for Marshall, at number 10. What are they smoking in that newsroom? I tell you, this is a bomb. Why is this pick so controversial? First, we all know the offense needs urgent protection. Caleb Williams can't dance in the pocket if he's crushed like a pancake. But, oh surprise, the top tackles were already off the board. So what do the Bears do? They go for defense in the first round for the first time since 2018. Yes, 2018. Mitchell Trubisky was still relevant back then. Here's the dilemma. Kevin Fishbane from The Athletic argues that the offensive line can be fixed in free agency and with second-round picks. But you tell me, Ryan Poles, are you going to trust free agency to protect your franchise, Caleb Williams? I question that strategy. Let's not forget the disaster that was Larry Borum. Are we going to repeat history? But wait, Mike Green is not just anyone. This guy destroyed the Senior Bowl. 17 sacks in the season. He plays with a violence that would make Brian Urlacher smile. And you know what? Montez Sweat needs a compliment, someone to give nightmares alongside him. Green has explosion, technique, but here's the problem. He's 6'3" and 251 pounds. Dennis Allen wants bigger edge players. Are we forcing a piece into a puzzle that doesn't fit? I ask you, Bears Nation, is it worth risking it with an undersized but productive edge when the offensive line is still a volcano about to erupt? Or is Poles playing 4D chess, ensuring the defense becomes terrifying so Williams doesn't even need to score 30 points per game? Here's my raw opinion. If Poles doesn't bring 2 starters for the offensive line in free agency, this would be a crime. But if he does, Green could be the Robin to Sweat's Batman. Imagine a defense with real pressure, something we haven't seen since the days of Khalil Mack. But if the offensive line collapses, Caleb would be in survival mode. And guess what? The fans' patience is running out. Ultimatum for the fans. What do you prefer, building the trench for Williams now, or creating a monster on defense with Green? Bears Nation, are you ready to define the future of the team? First, the financial bomb. Would you cut Cody Edwards for $5.5 million to free up space, or hold on to Tremaine Edmonds and his $1 million contract that still gives nightmares? Is it worth sacrificing experience for flexibility? Second, the trench dilemma. Do you build a human shield for Caleb Williams now, or invest in a defensive monster with Sweat to make the defense apocalyptic? What do you prioritize, protecting the star QB or ensuring terror on the defensive line? And the debate that divides Chicago, would you rather save $45 million and risk Caleb in human bowling pin mode for another season, or pay it all for an elite center that makes the difference between failure and glory? What's the real price of success? It's time to decide. What would you do in each play? Comment below your strategies and justify each choice. This is more than football, it's legacy. Join the Bears family 24/7. If you want raw analysis, hot news, and debates that break the like button, subscribe now. Every click brings Chicago closer to its next victory.